For decades, the path to new medicines has gone through one place: animal testing. But what if that whole system is built on a massive, fundamental flaw? Well, today, we're going to talk about a technology that isn't just questioning the old ways, it's about to make them obsolete. We're talking about putting your body on a chip.
90%. Just let that number sink in. That's how many drugs that look great in animal trials end up failing in human clinical trials. 90. This isn't just some small hiccup, you know? It's a massive, multi-billion-dollar bottleneck that's stopping us from getting cures for who knows how many diseases.
So why? Why this catastrophic failure rate? The reason is, well, it's almost comically simple. Mice are not men. It sounds obvious, right? But for decades, we've kind of ignored the huge biological differences between species. I mean, everything from our immune systems to our genes is just different. We're testing drugs for humans on animals, and surprise, surprise, it's just not cutting it.
All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll really get into that billion-dollar bottleneck. Then we'll meet the solution, a human on a chip. We'll see how these chips can link up to mimic an interconnected body, look at the huge regulatory green light that's pushing this forward, and finally, peek into the future where it's your body on a chip. Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the billion-dollar bottleneck. Let's really understand the problem with the old science. For like half a century, drug development has stood on these two pillars. And honestly, they're both starting to crack.
So this old science really boils down to two things. First, you have your 2D cell cultures. Think of them as cells just sitting on a flat petri dish. They're cheap, sure, but they're way too simple. They miss all the complexity of a real body. And then you have animal models. Yeah, they're more complex, but they run right into that mice are not men problem, which brings us right back to that 90% failure rate.
And you can really see that flawed progression here. We went from simple cultures to slightly more complex ones, and then to animals, right? Always chasing more accuracy. But every single step was a compromise. It's so clear that we need the next step. We need something that's both complex and actually human. Well, that next step is here. So let's talk about the solution. This is where we introduce the hero of our story, the organ on chip. It's a piece of tech literally built to solve the exact problems we've been talking about. Okay, so what in the world is an organ on chip, or OOC? Imagine a clear chip, maybe the size of a USB stick. Inside, engineers have etched these tiny, tiny channels and chambers. It's like microscopic plumbing. That's the microfluidic part. Then, they take living human cells and line these channels with them. They coax them into forming a tiny working piece of a human organ. We're talking a tiny lung that actually breathes, or a bit of a kidney that filters fluid. It's incredible.
But here's the real magic. This is the secret sauce. It's not just that they're using human cells. The truly groundbreaking part is that they make those cells feel like they're actually inside a living, breathing body. And the secret is the flow.
Think about your own body for a second. Your cells aren't just chilling out in a quiet pool, right? No way. They're constantly feeling the push and pull of blood flowing, lungs breathing, all this mechanical stress. A petri dish? That's a static, dead environment. But an organ on a chip? It's dynamic. It pumps fluid through those tiny channels, mimicking blood circulation. And that physical stress is the key. It makes the cells behave exactly like they do inside of you.
And this, right here, is the core idea you need to remember. This is the whole ballgame. Animals can mimic our biology, but they can't be our biology. These chips, on the other hand, they replicate human physiology. It's a total game changer.
Okay, let's look at a case study that really shows you the power here. The lung on chip during the COVID-19 pandemic. Scientists created this tiny breathing lung model, and they watched in real time exactly how the SARS-CoV-2 virus infected and just tore through the lungs lining. The level of detail, the precision, it gave them insights that you just couldn't see clearly in a mouse. It was a whole new window into the disease.
So, having a lung on a chip is amazing. But our bodies aren't just siloed organs, right? Everything's connected. Organs talk to each other. So the next logical step, the next big hurdle, was figuring out how to model that interconnectedness. And that brings us to multi-organ-on-chip systems, or MOCs. The idea is pretty straightforward. You link individual organ chips together. You connect a lung to a heart, a liver to a kidney. You create a tiny body on a chip so you can see how things that affect one organ might have ripple effects elsewhere. And for drug testing, that's everything. You can see the evolution of the whole idea right here. It starts with single organs, then you link them up into systems, and the ultimate goal is this fully integrated body on a chip that shows you the whole network.
And check out this amazing experiment that proves the point. Scientists connected a lung-on-chip to a heart-on-chip. Then, they introduced a toxin to the lung chip. Now, the lung did what you'd expect. It got inflamed and sent out these little emergency signals called cytokines. But here's the kicker. Those signals traveled through the bloodstream to the heart chip, and the heart chip started showing signs of damage. They proved right there on the chip how a problem in the lungs could create a problem in the heart. That's a systemic interaction you might completely miss otherwise.
Okay, this tech is awesome, we get it. But amazing science can sit on a shelf for years. For it to really take off, it needs a spark, a catalyst. And folks, that tipping point is happening right now, thanks to a huge change in the rules.
This is the game changer from a business and legal perspective. The FDA Modernization Act. Basically, it says that animal testing is no longer a mandatory requirement for new drugs. The FDA has opened the door, and that means technologies like organ-on-chip can walk right through and prove they are the new, better standard.
And this isn't just happening in the US. This is a global shift. You've got major organizations in Europe pushing this forward, connecting the science with the industry. National networks are popping up everywhere. This isn't just a cool new gadget for a lab. It's a full-blown business and ethical revolution. It's changing how we make medicine, period.
So what's the end game here? Where does all this lead? Well, the future of this technology is you. It's about your body on a chip.
Seriously, the ultimate vision is to create a chip version of you. Imagine this. Doctors take a small sample of your skin cells, turn them into stem cells, and then grow tiny versions of your organs on a chip. A you on a chip. Then, before you ever take a single pill, they can test which drug at which dose works best for your unique biology. This isn't just better medicine. This is truly personalized medicine.
Okay, let's have a quick reality check. We're not completely there yet. There are still some big hurdles. For example, creating a universal blood substitute that works for all the different organs on a chip. That's really, really hard. And making sure that every chip is manufactured to the same standard so the results are reliable, that's another huge challenge they're working on right now. But look, the progress is happening incredibly fast. We are absolutely watching the end of the animal testing era in real time. So the question isn't if this is going to change medicine, it's when. Which leaves me with one final thought to leave you with. Is it possible that your next prescription won't be tested on a mouse, but on a tiny chip version of you?